Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fakemon Community Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Scarfles.
And I'm another one of your hosts, Matt.
And today we will be having a very special guest, Okto.
Yippee! That's my entire introduction.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can't tell, well, Okto is famous for being an autism creature,
Oh yes.
as are we all.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if we're this deep into the community, that can only mean
Yeah.
one thing.
If you like Pokemon this much, then like you're not neurotypical.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all.
And if you think you are, maybe look into it.
Yeah. if you think you are, it's okay to be wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
The podcast pretty much exists because you were like,
Yeah.
it would be cool if it existed. And then both Scarfles and I were like, oh, we're interested, and then you hooked us up.
Oh, absolutely. Like
exactly.
I tweeted that. Like it was like I don't even remember tweeting that, to be honest. I blacked out and it was on my screen, and then both of y'all were in my DMs like, well, yes. So I was like, well, I guess
Yeah.
we're gonna like connect y'all. So like, I'm glad that it's happening though, because like I because I was going to tweet it first as a joke, because I was like, wouldn't that be so funny? Like it's so uninteresting, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, wait, there might be something to it, right? So because like I think people would enjoy like listening to artists, even if you're not necessarily like fans, quote unquote, of their work. It's still like interesting to like listen to people like just describe their process and everything. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And this episode is about your process.
Well, yes.
Right, so we've put the spotlight onto you. No pressure, except all of the pressure.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
But we must first ask the very important question. So, we've talked a bit about you already. We've kind of hyped you up. You're kind of the reason that this is happening. But
Oh, God.
how would
You
you
are the
describe
moment.
yourself to people in the community who don't even know you? Like, who are you? Really?
Yeah, who are you?
Well, that's a loaded question. Um, if you don't know me, first of all, why? No, I'm kidding. But I don't know. Like, how would I describe myself? Okay, this is so stupid, but like, I usually like I feel kind of weird. Like, I would say weird, but it's strange to like. What am I trying to say? It's strange to describe yourself to someone else. Like sometimes even just like saying, "Hey, my name is," feels like weird. So like I usually when I do like those tweets that are like to share like your art for people who don't know you, I usually just post like, "Hi, I'm Okto and I like Pokemon a normal amount." That's usually my entire introduction. But
Yeah.
for people who don't know me, I guess that's it. Like I draw a lot of Pokemon stuff, and I really like Pokemon, and I mean, go figure. And I mean, I guess that's kind of it. Like I don't really have like super big projects attached to me, not any that are like published anyway. So it's I can't say
Yeah.
I have like a call to popularity necessarily. Not that I think I'm popular anyway, but like I guess what I'm trying to say is that,
You should be.
well, thank you. Well, yes. So yeah, I would introduce myself as like an artist who started like doing art and also started getting serious about art because of Pokemon. So it's kind of like my thing, and I like doing like Fakemon and like mostly trainer designs. Actually, that's what I've been pivoting to in the past like years. But yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's like a great introduction, but like that's pretty much what comes to mind, I think. But I would say like basis is I'm Okto and I like Pokemon a very normal amount.
Yeah.
Long and winding, but really, really good.
Oh my god, I am,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just like warning for the listener. I I do be winding. The road is indeed winding, and there are many bumps along it. So I guess you're gonna have to like strap in. I don't know.
Yeah. This is definitely going to be a wild ride.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes.
So you said that like you do trainer art and you're into Fakemon and you like Pokemon just like a normal amount. But like
Yeah.
what else do you do? Like do you have any other hobbies like outside of Pokemon?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I honestly, cause like, I this is like, I people usually like don't believe me when I say this, but I like Pokemon a lot, but I don't actually like playing the games that much.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't. I was never a fan of the
It's a
anime.
multimedia
Yeah,
franchise. That's a perfectly
exactly.
reasonable answer.
Oh, absolutely. So like I I mean I like the games. I replay some of them like pretty often, but I wouldn't say I'm like a gamer necessarily. So for me, Pokemon is mostly about like the world building of it all and like making my own like depictions of it more so than like enjoying it as
Yeah.
like a video game or an anime or whatever. But outside of Pokemon, I do have some other hobbies, especially now that I'm like that art is like my job. Like you need like to do something else that you're not like doing for like money. So
Mm-hmm.
I do I do dabble in like other artistic endeavors. You would say like I really like stuff like sewing and uh rotting in bed. Like I it's yeah I think that's mostly sewing and like there's some stuff I want to try and some stuff I'm like dipping my toes into, but like art is like my main thing, I would say, especially now that like I do it for like a living.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any like favorite like non-Pokemon games?
Yeah, I do actually. I definitely haven't played as many games as I would say most people in the community are. In my
Mm-hmm.
experience, I feel like a lot of people in the community like are, I mean, this is obviously just my experience, but I feel like many people are like gamers, like whatever
Yeah.
that
Mm.
entails.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't describe myself like that necessarily, but I did play a lot of games like growing up and like recently that I really liked. Like for example, I remember one of my favorite games when I was a kid. Cause okay, this is a bit of like cultural context, but I am Chilean, and for most of us, like in the global South, you could say we our experience with Pokemon wasn't necessarily through like very legal means. I would
Mm-hmm.
say
Yeah.
so. I would dabble in like emulating certain stuff. You could say. So,
Well, if they're not gonna want to make it available,
oh,
emulation
absolutely.
is perfectly
Oh yeah,
moral.
I
absolutely.
mean,
So.
I mean, when I was like 5, so they were in the shelves, but I didn't like, I wasn't in a position to buy a console, so
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm.
I did play a lot of like, cause for, for like Nintendo stuff specifically, I've always been like more of a Nintendo person, and for
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nintendo
Same.
stuff specifically, there were like you could emulate the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Color, and the Nintendo 64,
Mhm.
and some Nintendo DS games. Like that was it. So
Yeah.
I out of Pokemon, I remember playing a lot of Zelda Minish Cap, which was one of my favorite games. I still really like it.
Such a good
Um,
game.
it's such a good game and
Yeah.
it's so pretty and it's out of that, I mean that was for the Game Boy. I did play a lot of like Kirby 64. That game is amazing.
Oh, I
Um
love Kirby 64
it's
so
so
much.
good and the music
Oh,
is
I need to play
amazing.
it.
Oh, you have to play it. Like it's
Yeah.
genuinely amazing. I'm pretty sure yeah, it's on the
That and just more Zelda stuff because I never really got into Zelda. Like,
oh,
like they all look good, like Miniature Cap included, but I never got into Zelda myself.
you know,
But like, oh, like
I
so many good
do
games out
get
there.
it. I do get it because I was into Zelda, but I was very like insularly into Zelda. I don't know if that makes any sense. Let me explain it. I played a lot of Minish Cap, and I had a very like long. Oh, I wouldn't say long. It was like 2 months where I was like obsessed with what's it called, Majora's Mask. So
Mm-hmm.
I was
I think everyone goes through a Majora's Mask
oh
phase,
Oh,
to be honest.
absolutely,
absolutely.
but like it was kind of weird because I've never played Ocarina of Time, which I know is like most people's favorite Zelda game.
I mean, I've played the 3DS port,
Oh,
and I got stuck in Gerudo Valley,
well.
so
No, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, to be fair, I do say I was obsessed with Majora's Mask for like 2 months, but I also never made it past the fourth temple. So like, I mean, I know what happens next, but I never like actually played it myself because listen, I love that game. I love the atmosphere. The fucking the like timing, the like having to do everything within the restrained amount of time is so annoying, and I really don't like it. So it takes a lot of me to play it.
It's so
It's
anxiety
a nice
inducing.
aesthetic mechanic, though.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I get it. I absolutely get why it works, and I think it works. But also, it makes me so anxious that I don't like. I try to avoid it. Like even because it. I was gonna say recently, but it was like 2 years ago that it got ported for the Nintendo Switch, uh, Nintendo 64 Virtual Console, and I started
Hmm.
a playthrough, but I didn't even make it to the first temple just because I was so stressed. So it's definitely like it's a great game, but you also like need some like disposition to enjoy it to its full potential, you know. Also it's
So
depressing.
basically, me with horror games, I just can't do
Oh
it.
yeah. I mean, I really like horror like media, but I don't like playing the games because again, I get like anxious, so I just like watch people
Yeah.
play them, like playthroughs and stuff. But like, yeah, it's definitely like within that realm of like media where you're gonna have to be
Yeah.
built a certain way to like enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Because I mean, watching horror and experiencing horror
Mm.
like physically, like via a game, they're different things. I realize I completely interrupted Scarf when on the Majora's Mask point. What were you gonna say?
I don't even remember. I'm so sorry.
Well,
No, I should be the one that apologized because I was like, "Ooh, I have something to say."
Feel free to interrupt me. I don't give a damn.
All right, I just making everything very clear. This podcast is very young.
oh
Uh,
yeah, like we like I'm part of the whole thing, but like it's definitely like what is this like second, third episode?
this
Second.
is like the second, yeah.
Fierce. Okay, yeah, it's definitely like fighting its footing. But I think it's working at like it's you'll definitely have like questions like and like a set like path for it. So it's just a lot of like trial and error, I
Yeah.
suppose.
And finding like the footing, the pacing of it,
Right.
because like you heard
Yeah.
how I kind of just dropped your name like a fucking pebble in the bucket, but didn't mean to. I just was like, how do
Yeah.
I say this? And I was just like Okto, and it's like, well, I said it.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, no one knows how to pronounce my full username, so you can just say Octo.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Octo, or
tried.
is you yet? Is what I mentally say in my mind.
I think it's Risiet. I think. And
Riziet.
if we
Okay.
have any Russian speakers in the audience in the house tonight, they're gonna be so mad at me for probably butchering that. And honestly, y'all are right. But
Fair. Yeah.
um I'll probably just ask one more question because I've been really hogging all the questions before I give it to Matt.
mhm.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It's
So
fine.
you said that you were pivoting more towards like trainer designs,
Uh huh.
so I'm gonna ask, of the trainer designs you've made so far, which one is your
Hmm.
favorite?
Oh my god, I have to actually let me because I'm in front of my laptop right now. This is a bit of like behind the scenes for everyone to like enjoy. But I'm looking at my folder of art because if I don't like I have ADHD. Like everyone knows we have problem with like fucking what's it called with like object permanence. So like if I'm not
Oh
seeing
yeah,
it, I'm gonna
Yeah.
forget that it exists. So hmm.
like a cat.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it's actually really bad. I have these characters that I actually designed a year ago, and it was kind of the first thing that Scarf and I did together. Like Scarf helped
Mm-hmm.
me, and it was Kiki and Booba, which was like these two characters which were born of a very stupid idea, which is most of the
Yeah.
stuff I
Good
do,
idea.
and like
I mean, they're named after that
yeah,
one thing,
right,
like of like like the whole psychology behind like
Right.
sharper shapes and rounder shapes and how that connects to sound
Uh-huh.
linguistically, and like it's a very interesting study.
Oh yeah, I agree. And like it's definitely like an
Yeah.
interesting idea to like I think explore like through design, but I was like cuz let me see if I remember cuz I think my idea was to like do these characters because from what I remember though within that study it was like people not only like associated Kiki with like those like the like spiky shape but also like more like quote unquote like how would you say this,
Aggression,
yeah, like aggressive sound
sharpness.
sharp, right.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to like turn that on its head and like made Kiki the one that has like light colors and looks like kind of like sweet, and have Booba be the one that's like kind of gothy and like kind of like intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually where most of like my ideas come from, I would say, because they usually
Hmm.
start as like a very stupid like Scarf can vouch for this. Every single time I have an idea, I started like when I tell everyone, I start by saying, "Wouldn't it be funny if?" So,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
so it usually starts that way, and then I'm like, "How can I turn this and like on its head and like make it its own like thing and like different from the base idea, but like in a clever way, right?" I mean, clever in my head, of course, but it's I think that's why those characters are my favorite because if I do have some other designs like for example I people really like this one trainer design I did ages ago. Her name is Marianne, I think, and I I kind of did her like within what like 3 hours, but for some reason she's been really popular. I think it's because my it was my first like concept art sheet. And also Colt, which admittedly, yes, I'm coming clear about this. Colt was indeed a thirst trap the entire time. So
Yeah.
that one has been pretty popular as well, I find. But also, I think it has to do with the fact that I have also done like concept art for him. I think people like seeing like concept art and like um, extra sketches beyond just like key art. And I guess that's like
Yeah.
PSA for everyone who does Fakemon and Pokemon art. Do more sketches because people like that.
Yeah, because it sort of like makes it feel more realistic and feel like you
Right,
know what this character, whether it be a Pokemon or a trainer,
right.
like how they interact with the world they live in, and that creates a sense of connection, I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. Like, I think
So yeah.
it definitely makes them feel more alive, I would say.
And I remember, because
Mm-hmm.
I became aware of you through like Pinterest first and
Wait,
foremost, and I kind of
really?
followed that back. Yeah.
Gag.
Specifically like posts that you used to do like this, where you would do like the mon and then like photographs of like its concept
Oh,
around it.
yeah. Damn, that post is old. It's on
Mm-hmm.
Pinterest?
Yeah, it
Was it the
is.
one person who has the picture of a baby?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, for the people who are listening who don't know about this, it's kind of like an open secret between all of us, but for some reason, there's one specific person on Pinterest who saves all of our drawings. It's the same person and they have a picture of a baby on their like or like a toddler, I don't know, on their like profile on Pinterest. And like we need someone to like do a deep dive. Who is this person? Like we need fucking Wendy Goon on the case. We need Isties. We need like I don't know, Nexpo, someone. Like there's gotta be a rabbit hole here somewhere. Cause like what?
Exactly. It is the
The
same
the
person.
internet can find out. We need to rally the internet.
Oh, absolutely. Like
Yes.
we are starting a hashtag. We are finding the fucking baby person. Like it's imperative.
Who
This
is
happens.
Hashtag
Yanima?
find the baby person.
Yeah, like top 10 like Pinterest mysteries instead of like Reddit. That would be so funny actually. Like for like a video for like April Fools, and instead of like Reddit or like fucking 4chan mysteries, it's fucking Pinterest. That'd be so funny actually. Let me write
Yeah.
that down.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
please do. That is such an amazing idea.
Wouldn't it be funny if?
Uh huh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well,
That is
see,
that process caught live in 4K.
well, yeah,
I
This is the
see.
say this as
process.
this video is not likely going to be rendered in 4K.
Oh,
Well, damn, what's the point then?
well,
Oh, yeah, honestly, it's it,
I mean,
it
I will
yeah.
say, as someone who had to recently export a video in 4K that was 11 seconds and it took 14 hours, I don't blame you.
Oh, good. Oh, good lord.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
no.
4K is like movie picture quality.
Yeah,
And everyone really like gets hung up about like 4K imagery, and it's like when you're watching a YouTube video, 1080 is fine.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Like, are you
Like, I
watching
was
in a,
Like,
joking, but good
yeah.
lord.
oh yeah, are you watching in like a fucking theater screen? Like, what's going on? Like, you're watching this on your phone that is partially bigger than your hand. Like, you don't need to give it 4K. Also, I feel like when
Yeah.
videos have like 4K and like 60 or like fucking, I don't know, like 400 and something FPS, they usually look like, you know how in department stores when you go to the TV section they always have like videos to like show the power of the TV, and they always look the same, and they're like colors like exploding but like in super like high quality. I feel like all videos that are like 4K like a million FPS look like that, and it's kind of like it takes me out of it a bit.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
No
It's
reason.
like 60 FPS is like the limit, and even then, that should only really be for like games and stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Honestly, bring back 10 FPS. Bring back, I don't know, fucking 144p. Like, we need to go back to the analog era. Like, we
Bring
need
up dialogue, or
absolutely.
bring back dial up.
Yeah, we need AOL to start
Yeah.
screaming at the top of its lungs every time we log in. Like, it's we need that back, honestly.
That reminds me.
Absolutely.
Oh, excuse me. That reminds me when I was in like high school, I listened to an 800% slowed down like version of like a dial-up noise like just being played, and it sounded like so operatic and sad, and I
Oh
was
my
obsessed
god,
with it.
I know exactly what you're talking about because recently I came across a video that was actually 800 percent slowed of "Baby" by Justin Bieber, and it sounds like a fucking. It sounds so operatic to the point where I actually like. I, for some reason, I've been like looking at a lot of like horror content lately on YouTube, and it
Hmm.
was like on Instagram on my phone, and I forgot to like close it. So at some point I was like, "What the what? Like, am I like going insane? Like, why am I listening to? Why am I hearing like a fucking choir in the distance?" And it was "Baby" by Justin Bieber at 800% slowed. So I can confirm like pulse stretch is powerful. Like, you can make really fucking interesting sounding like what's it called, like ambient tracks from very stupid things, and for some reason they usually sound good.
Oh, absolutely. I need to send
Yeah.
you that dial-up one when I
Please
can
do.
find it, because it was like over 10 years ago.
I'm gonna look for the baby one because I saw it recently.
I love atmospheric stuff.
Oh, me
Oh,
Like,
it's
too.
so good.
Found it.
yeah.
No, yeah, atmospheric stuff is amazing. Like, there's I guess we can like, I don't know if we have to like go into music because I will never shut up on music, but there's this artist I really like, and maybe people who are listening are familiar. Her name is Sophie. Well, her name was Sophie. She passed away not that long ago. And on her
Oh.
one and only album, well, debatable because the second one was a remix album, but whatever. But she has a song that's like ambient on it, and it's so beautiful. And it was like my first time like actually like giving ambient like a fighting chance. And I was like, wait, this is really good. Like, it's so like, I don't know. It has a very specific vibe to it, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I can get you into Dungeon Synth.
I've actually listened to Dungeon Synth.
Oh my god, hell yes. Okay, good.
I I don't I wouldn't say I've like delved much into it necessarily, but I've told you about this artist Louis Song, and he makes a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
like really cool music, and I'm pretty sure it's him that has like a Dungeon Synth little EP. Yep, I found it. It's called Beyond the Edge of the World. I'm gonna send you the link.
Oh my god, I don't think I've heard that one by him yet.
It's pretty good. I think he made it with the intention of like having people like put it on like while they're playing like D&D or something.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I love his
Nice.
album art so
I
much.
know, right? I really like Louis inspires me a lot to like try out. different like methods of making art, because I will say that I really like making the art that I do, but it does get a little bit like repetitive when you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do want to like try out more stuff, and I know that Louis makes a lot of his album art on Blender, which I
Mm-hmm.
find really interesting, and I want to give that a try because it does look pretty cool. Doesn't look easy, but it does look cool.
Yeah, he's got his absolutely own style. It almost looks like some of it looks like clay, others look like
Yes.
he took like paper and like made a collage out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I really like that. Like, I mean, I think you can tell from like the my usual layout for like posting stuff, but I really like that idea of like emulating like quote unquote traditional or like real textures with
Mm-hmm.
digital art, like the whole like making them look like stickers and like the corkboard background. So I think expanding that into like clay and like paper looking things, like that sounds really interesting, and I think it's so fun. So I'm definitely gonna give it a try at some point when I'm like, a bit less busy.
I think it would be like, especially because you said that you really like to sew. I think it would be really interesting if you kind of like experimented with that, but also kind of made it like your post and stuff look like a really messy sewing table with like
Oh,
thread sticking out and like little bits of like different textured fabric here and there with different patterns.
that's fun. I'm writing this down because I did once last year when I reached 2,000 followers on Twitter. Which, by the way, follow me on Twitter. Um, I did do this
Yeah.
drawing, which I'm gonna send right now, and it's kind of sort of what you're going for, but also not like to the full extent. So I think I'm gonna like expand on it with what you
Hmm.
said because I really like that idea.
Why Banette though?
That is a very good question. Why Baynet?
Oh, that is a good question. So, uh, actually, like I think I've said this before, but I don't know that Banette is necessarily my favorite Pokemon. Like I really like it, and it's definitely like my top five. But I don't know if that it's my favorite one, like number one. But I chose Banette, and I always chose Banette because when I was a kid, I was so obsessed with Coraline, which actually is the reason why I sew now. And I was like, oh, Coraline, like a haunted doll. And then I was like, I love Pokemon. Wait, there's a Pokemon that is a haunted doll. So I kind of like latched onto it. And it's like, I don't know. I also like, I mean, I guess it has to do with the fact that I don't see that many people like claiming Banette, especially because it admittedly kind of sucks ass in terms of like competitive stuff. So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, I latch onto it because of the sewing thing and because I really like Coraline, but there wasn't really a lot more thought behind that necessarily. But I really like Banette. It's definitely one of like my top five favorite Pokemon.
Yeah. It's a very like unique Pokemon to
Right.
have like as a favorite and as a mascot.
I think so, yeah.
Um.
And it's funny because
Yeah.
it has made there's not that many people who like love Banette and are like Banette stands, you could say. But there are some, and
Yeah.
I've found out that they're like finding me because I usually see them in like my notifications. So I'm like, I guess I'm building like a little hub for them.
Oh.
Yeah. Banette's finding a home and then plotting to like kill the people that abandoned them. You
Hopefully,
know, that's cute.
yeah. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Good horror manga.
Honestly, yeah. Like we need Junji Ito to like finish that fucking illustration of Banette he did.
Oh, he did a
Yeah.
Banette one? I thought he did like just a
Oh
Gengar
no, he
one.
did too, and one of them was Manette. So I won so specifically with that because I'm such a Junjito fan and a Manette fan. So when I saw that, I was like, I mean, to this day, people send it to me. Like, have you seen this? So like, it's, I would say it's definitely up my alley. You could say that for sure.
Yeah.
Especially considering you did that like Junji Ito inspired
Oh my god,
what was it,
yes!
Grimmsnarl?
Yeah, it was Grimmsnarl. That was so fun, actually.
Ooh, yeah.
I It was for a sign project. By the way, I want to say this right now. I know there's kind of like a bit of kerfuffle, you could say, regarding the pronunciation of that word. I don't know if it's scene like magazine or sign, but all I'm saying is that it was
Either
for
way.
yeah, it was for one of
Yeah.
those, and I was like, it was within that same vein of me wanting to try Blender, where I was like, hey, I really like how this looks, and I've never really tried it, and I'm kind of bored of drawing Sugimori style all the time, so I could try it, and I think it turned out well. I mean, I like it a lot, and it was also like my first like sign scene project, which it's actually kind of crazy to like receive like a physical sign scene and open it and like have your art be there. It's kind of like wow,
Yeah.
like I've made it, baby, I made it. I don't know.
I want to do
Yeah.
that one day.
You have to. Oh, that's it would be amazing. Like I can absolutely like get you some like if I find any like ads for a sign scene project, I'm definitely sending it to you because it's very fun.
Especially if they do like an electric themed one, I would love to do a Shinx.
Oh, that'd be great. I mean, usually they're not always like type themed though. Like I remember there was one a while ago that happened, and I think they ended like selling leftovers like right before I found out about science in general. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to buy it, but it was called Winds of Hoenn, and a lot of really cool artists were in it, and it was just like a big like art book project that was just based around Hoenn, like the entire region. So
That's so cool.
it's so cool, and
Yeah.
the art of it is amazing, and it's like it's there's definitely like not a lot of like I would say they're definitely very open in terms of like context. You don't have to like stick to like a type or something. Like I've seen some of those projects which are like a Pokemon X, I don't know, One Piece sign, a Pokemon X fucking Final Fantasy sign, and it's like such
Yeah.
niche um like meetups of different uh l- like medias,
Medias.
but that somehow work and people like go up for it. So there's absolutely a market, I would say that.
I'd have to look into
Yeah.
it because like the Pokemon and Final Fantasy one sounds so good.
I will say I did make that up, but it's but I wouldn't be surprised because I have seen fuck I don't remember what the other media was, but I have seen a lot of like Pokemon X something else. I mean, there's gotta be a fucking Final Fantasy one. Let me Google this actually. Pokemon Final
Oh
Fantasy.
yeah, there's definitely gonna be one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially considering like World of Final Fantasy,
Oh,
and
found it.
it's like a mon. Yeah.
No, yeah, like it definitely lends itself for it. Okay, yeah, the sign closed already, but it has happened. So
Yeah, and plus both games have like a long haired, all in black girl boss who loves to ruin your day. Pokemon has Cynthia, Final Fantasy has Sephiroth.
well,
Like,
yes.
you know,
Yeah, Sephiroth is a girl boss.
I'm pretty sure I've seen someone make a mashup between the two.
Actually, that would be fun. I was gonna say like it would be fun
Yeah.
to like draw like Sephiroth, like I guess cosplaying as Cynthia.
That would be really
I
fun.
think I've seen Cynthia cosplay as Sephiroth or something like
Okay, yeah, it
that
seems more
before.
likely actually.
But yeah.
Honestly, that's fun. I've never been into Final Fantasy necessarily. Again, I don't really play a lot of games, so like I played Breath of the Wild, which was when did it come out? Like 2017. I played it last year, so
Yeah.
it's you could say I'm not necessarily like very connected to the zeitgeist in terms of like games. So I haven't played Final Fantasy, but I will say it does look pretty cool. Maybe I'll play it once.
Oh, I'll get you into it eventually. It's especially if you like start with World of Final Fantasy, because you catch monsters and you don't need
Right.
to know anything about Final Fantasy to enjoy it.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I can't believe we've talked about games for this long and you've never mentioned Eastward.
Oh my fucking god, I forgot. Okay, this is where I take over the podcast, by the way. So,
Go
I
ahead.
I need
The spotlight is on
It is
you.
your episode.
perfect. I need everyone to not pause this episode, but open another tab and go to steam.com. I think that's the like site, and search Eastward and look at the price. It's probably on sale, and maybe like look into it, consider it, think about it. You know, just like don't Google the story. First of all, do not Google the story. In fact, I was gonna say like maybe Google like images, but that could be a little dicey, But I will say this. Okay. Again, I don't play a lot of games, so take this with a grain of salt. That being said, it was my favorite game of 2021. I think that's when it came out, or 2022. I don't know, but it was so good. I cried the entire time. It's not that long. It's the story is so weird, but so good, but so nonsensical, but so good. It's like I love that game so much, and the art of it is so beautiful. Like that game made me like pause and be like, okay, I have to do pixel art. So like, it's I need everyone to play Eastward. Like stat, it's imperative. Like it's such a good game, and it's indie too. I think. I mean, it was released by the same company that
Chucklefish.
yes, the same company that released Stardew Valley, but it was developed,
All right.
I believe, by one person. So yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so good. That game is so good. And the thing is, and what pains me the most, is that the game is so good, but because of the way it's set and because of the way like everything works, it's one of those games that you can only really play like once.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you're like physically unable to play it again, but you're like when you know what's gonna happen, it doesn't hit the same like at all because
Mm-hmm.
it mostly relies on like story more so than gameplay necessarily, which is not a bad thing, but it is when you're trying to like replay it. So I guess my only solace instead of like replaying it myself is to be like a fucking I don't know like a spirit that can go to the afterlife. So I'm like haunting everyone to convince them to play it for me, because so I can like live vicariously through other people. Because it's like it's such a good game. It's such a good game. And again, like I don't play a lot of games, so I don't know if that's necessarily gonna hold up for someone that's like more knowledgeable on them. But it's an amazing game. It's so good.
I do really really want to try it.
Wait,
I
you haven't
might.
played it?
No.
Oh my god, you have to play it. You
I
have to play it.
Yeah. I think absolutely this would be something that me and Husbear would like to play through.
Oh, Boots.
Because he also like we would not consider ourselves like gamers either by any definition. Like we play games,
Right.
but a lot of times we're playing games that are like 10 years old,
Right.
like dot hack.
Oh, for sure.
We just play like really eclectic games like Disco Elysium, and like I
Oh
think
yeah.
Eastward would absolutely be like up our alley to play because we play together.
Oh yeah, you absolutely have to play it. And also another game that I know I say I don't play games, but I just remember this. Have you ever I'm so annoying. I'm so sorry. Have you ever
No, you're not.
played No, I am, and you're gonna realize right now. Have you ever played Yume Nikki?
Yeah,
Fierce. Okay, that's all I needed to know.
I also played Ib.
I haven't.
Ib is really good.
I mean, I definitely want to try it because like is Ib okay, this is probably like I probably shouldn't say this, but like is Ib like fan thing based on Yume Nikki, or is it like a separate thing?
I don't know, especially like back in that era of like RPG games that were coming out on Steam that were in that vein. I think they were all in the milieu of like inspiring one another.
Right.
So like it was probably based on like Yume Nikki, just probably like how Witch's House, I think it's called, was. I saw like a lot of Ib in Witch's House, and also a
Oh,
little bit of Yume Nikki.
yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it, and it is released in 2020. I mean 2012. So
Hmm.
it's, and from what I'm reading, it's definitely like inspired by Yumeniki. But because I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of like game projects that are like direct like fan made sequels of Yumeniki,
Hmm.
and I don't particularly love them. No hate to them, of course, but like it's, I feel like they don't really nail the like eeriness of Yumeniki. They usually go for like a more outwardly like horror take on it with like jump scares and
Hmm.
like shit. And I don't particularly live for that. But I'm looking at Eve and it does look pretty good, so maybe I should play it.
Or at least watch a playthrough of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Cause is it a? Oh yeah, it is a RPG Maker game. Honestly, RPG Maker horror games are pretty like fun.
They really truly are. Like I like this is absolutely showing my age a little bit and how my taste has gone from like horribly bad to like at least a little bit better. But I used to be like really obsessed with Corpse Party.
Oh, but like that's a cult classic though.
Yeah,
Like
but like
I
it was
would,
in that vein.
I wouldn't be like ashamed of that necessarily. I mean, I haven't played it, but I have like heard a lot about it, and it's like, yeah. I mean, Corpse Party is, when did it come out?
Oh fuck, I don't know.
I'm googling this. Hold
Let me look
on.
it up.
It is from Uh, 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 why does it not say?
Yeah, why isn't it saying?
That's so odd.
Because it's saying it
What?
came out in 2021. It did not.
No, it released in April 22, 1996. That's old for a game like
Yeah,
this.
that's really old. I think I probably watched like an adaptation of it, like because it got
Right,
like it almost looks like an RPG Maker horror game.
right,
The one that I like watched.
right. No, yeah, I'm reading that apparently there's a lot of like adaptations, you would say.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's. Wait, I want to see how the original looks actually, because that's pretty old. Like most of these games are like what, like I think Yumeniki came out in like 2004 or something.
So it's like 20 years old.
Yeah, I mean it's still pretty old, but like like within the 2000s, like not
Yeah.
1996. That's kind of crazy. Another game that I've never played, and I honestly never really thought was particularly scary, but I think a lot of people do, probably because they played it when they were young. Have you played what's it called? Ao Oni?
Yes.
Fierce. That's all I have to say, by the way. I haven't played it.
I was like, yes, and
Well,
well,
yes.
yes.
No, yeah, I haven't
Yeah.
played it, but I've seen a lot of videos, and I like the design of the Oni, but it doesn't have the same effect on me that it has on other people. Probably because I didn't play it at like a formative age.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not the topic suddenly changing to like obscure RPG maker horror games from the early 2000s.
That just kind of like influenced us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Like, I used to. Okay, I'm not a lot of people know this, but I used to. I mean, I say I used to like I was prolific at it, but I had a period of time where I was like doing like horror art, and I would say I was definitely inspired by games like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to like go back to it a little, especially after the reception that my Junji Ito piece had, because like people like it and I like doing it, so like I might as well.
Wait, going back to what you said about like your piece from the Zine, did you do that in Blender?
Oh no,
Oh, I got confused.
no, I just
Right. Yeah.
I just wanna like do Blender stuff, but I haven't really like. I've done like very rough models, mostly for like reference for like design, so I can like trace them. But it's like I no, I did that on Procreate.
Oh, okay, okay,
All
okay.
right. So what was the? I mean, what would you say the process of like making some of those more, I guess, creepier
Mm-hmm.
art? How do you say that that process, or how that process typically goes?
Hmm. It's it's I'm not sure necessarily because I don't think I've done like enough pieces to like have like a set path for it. But I will say that for the ones that I have done, which I'm gonna send some to the chat right now, so y'all can like maybe have them on screen if you want. But I usually like this is pretty much for everything I draw, but I usually start when I have like a vision. And when I say a vision, I mean like literally like Raven Baxter, like I open my eyes and I see something. So it's like I have a vision and then I'm like, okay, how can I get there? And it's usually like through a lot of like referencing, of course, people who like know like what they're doing. I used to do you know this artist? Yep. If you for the people who like are into like horror stuff, you'll probably know Blasty Boo. I really like Blasty stuff, and because they do a lot of like the creepy cute thing with like cutesy I mean they used to at least the like cutesy characters with like like kind of like weird scary like things to it. So that's kind of like what I used to go for, but I would say yeah, like in terms of like processes, mostly just like a lot of referencing, which is my process for pretty much everything I do. Like you just like have to look at a lot of art to like be able to do something like how you imagine it.
Yeah. I would assume the process is fairly similar when it comes to like designing trainers and some Fakemon as well.
Yeah, yeah. Like I have a folder on my phone, just like full to the brim with like official Sugimori style artwork of like trainers, because you have to reference it pretty heavily, so it's like quote unquote convincing. But I I'm also like not that against um like giving it a little bit of your own twist. I don't like straying much from it because like most of like my thing when it comes to art has to do with the fact that I can sort of emulate Sugimori style pretty well. So I try to like stay close to it, but I do think giving it a little bit of your own like spin is good, so you like don't go insane and have an identity crisis, but also like like it feels more. I guess like I don't know what I'm trying to say. It definitely makes it a lot more. Well, obviously like personal, but I don't know like hmm.
Great
Wait, hold on.
question.
I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought. I am so sorry. Hold on.
Right, it's okay.
Uh oh yeah, for the process of like making trainers, like giving it your own twist, because like if you I've read a lot of like, well, I wouldn't say a lot, but I've read quite a few interviews with like Pokemon artists and like people who like work for Game Freak, and one thing that really stuck to me was I think it was James Turner who was asked about like the different artists who worked on like I think Sword and Shield, and he was like, oh yeah, I really like seeing like different artworks from Sword and Shield, like different Pokemon or different trainers, and being able to tell who made it by the quirks in the rendering or in the anatomy or in the design. And that's something that really stuck to me because before reading that, my train of thought was very like you have to like emulate Sugimori style as perfectly as you can, and you cannot stray away from it, and it has to be like perfect. Which,
Yeah.
after reading that, I was like, wait, that is kind of like an impossible thing to achieve, because Sugimori's style as like one immovable style doesn't really exist. Like, within Sugimori's styles, there's a lot of like different artists who have different things, and if you look at like key art, even from the same generation, side by side, you can tell that there are very key differences. So you can't emulate
Yeah.
it to a T, because it's not like a monolith, right? So
Mhm.
It isn't, no.
I think
Like
that's,
Pokemon design is quite a broad church,
yeah,
and it has a there's like a lot of artists have a lot of different things to say.
right,
Funnily enough, um, I mean, obviously there is a sense of like you've got to adhere to some sort of standard, but
right,
like that standard isn't replicate this one person's specific art style.
right,
Because I mean, you've got each artist has their own quirks,
right,
but like in a way that makes each design feel more unique.
right, exactly,
And it's like, yeah, you're adhering to a certain aesthetic,
right,
certain design rules, but largely it's like you've got these rules applied, but like it's like playing a game. You've got rules ascribed to you.
right.
Now play.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Like, it's kind of expected of you to like give it a little bit of your own like twist on it. And of course, if
Yeah.
you can't like stray away that far from it, because then it becomes obvious that it's kind of like weird to look at like a very like distinct um art style shift. But also, even then, like, I used to be pretty like skeptical of Take's design for Sword and Shield, because it was kind of like a jump in stylistic choices. Like, when they designed people like Nessa and like um B and like all those leaders from Galar, I was like, I don't know about this, but I will say that it grew a lot on me, especially by the time Scarlet and Violet came out, and I was like, wait, I actually really like this. Like, it is like it's definitely a jump. Like, you can tell when something is made by Take. It's pretty obvious, but also that's kind
Hmm.
of good. I think it makes it more fun. I don't know. It feels less corporate and like less soulless, right?
Yeah.
What would you say that like your little design quirk is? Like I can say one thing about it, but what would you say is one of your little design quirks that you have throughout all of your art, be it Fakemon or trainers?
Hmm. I will say that I don't know. I do have an answer for this, but I don't really have an answer that like came from me necessarily, because I'm not super like aware of stuff like that. Like, I'm usually like, there are some things that I do on purpose. Like, I usually am aware of the fact that I do like more like cool color palettes, or that I do like shit to that to that effect. But that's kind of the stuff I do like on purpose. But I have been told that my designs usually have like a campy thing to them. Like, I do draw a lot of inspiration from drag. I really like drag, and drag is obviously very like exaggerated in like shapes, like big like silhouettes, and like crazy um things added to like make something look super stylized. And that's something that I've been told I do a lot, and which honestly, yes, I do kind of on purpose, because I do draw a lot of inspiration from drag and like show costume and shit. But it's yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like, that inspiration from drag and like more campy things, which I think gives my designs a bit of especially when it comes to trainers. Like, I try to avoid
Yeah.
doing like a t-shirt and jeans trainer, because I don't find that particularly like enticing for me personally. I mean, it definitely can work, but I don't love it. I prefer doing a character that is like bombastic and has like crazy shape. Like, for Kiki and Booba, like they dress like fucking drag queens, so it's like it's
Yeah.
definitely like that. aesthetic of like larger than life, like very exaggerated, very like um performance driven, like fashion and like avant-garde and like super like um not worrying too much about making the character look like they dress practically, right?
Hmm.
I do want to know what you
Yeah.
were thinking though, Scarf, because you did say you had like an answer.
Oh, so for like your Fakemon at least,
Mm-hmm.
the eye designs, especially like that little like rounded square with like the dot in the middle that's the pupil, that's very you.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's very you.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wait,
Like you see it especially like on display in a lot of your project that has not been released yet, but also like right here with Pomegranate
mm-hmm.
Dam.
Oh my god, Pomegranate Dam, my
So
beloved.
good.
Oh yeah, you're right. I do that eye a lot.
And also Pow Dumbo.
Oh my god, Bao Dumbo, my beloved. That
Yeah,
one is
that's
so
your
fun.
eye.
Yeah, I guess that is my eye. I don't know. I like it. It feels like graphic or something. Like it's. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess you're right. I guess that is my thing. I never really like thought about it, but I definitely see what you mean for sure. Actually, wait.
Yeah.
Now I'm like looking back at all the designs I've done, and I'm like, wait, that is a very like repeating pattern. To the point where I'm like, maybe I should like
Oops.
mix it up or something. Cause like, Jesus Christ.
Like, obviously keep doing it, but also, like, you know.
All right. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my god, redesign, like, Banette, but with those eyes.
Yeah,
It'd be cute.
And,
actually, it would be
or,
cute.
or make it even, like, a Banette evolution, really, because that, I feel like that could even, like, not only could those eyes add to it, but you could also add a bunch more frivolous things. Like, make the ultimate Okto Pokemon at some point. Those
Honestly,
eyes, make it drag themed.
actually, yeah, you're kind of onto something. Maybe I should try that.
The ultimate Octo Fakemon. Oh, that'd be so good.
I'm gonna write that down too, because that sounds fun.
It does sound really, really fun.
We can make it like a challenge or something, like for people to like design their ultimate themselves Pokemon with like
Hmm.
quirks of their own design.
That is really fun. Oh my god. When you were talking about trainers,
Mhm.
and like kind of like what you have, your inspiration from drag and stuff, and how you don't really like to do trainers that are like t-shirt and jeans.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like the commission you did for Matt,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it really shows your range.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm really proud of the commission still.
Yeah. Like, when we were like discussing it, it was a case of like I had some ideas and you were like, okay, no, some of these ideas I really like. Some of them, let's do something else.
Well, yes.
And I was like, yeah, I'm on board with this.
And honestly, I'm glad you like took it the right way, because
Yeah,
I try to like be like because I feel like if you're commissioning someone, you not only want their ability but also their like knowledge. So
yeah,
I think a lot of artists, myself included in the past, have like not said anything about something that we know isn't necessarily like gonna work, or something that is like a bit like difficult to achieve or whatever. But like
yeah,
it's definitely like, I feel like that's the point of commissions, especially when it comes to commissions like this, where it's like design. Because like if I was just
Mhm.
gonna like draw what the other person wants and like not put any of myself on it, not only would I be miserable doing that 24/7, but also it would be like a bit. I find a bit of a disservice to the client to like just like do everything without any sort of like
yeah.
thought beyond it. By the way, I just want to clarify. I'm not saying that your ideas were bad. I'm just saying that.
No, no, no. It's just that I am very much happy with how it turned out because I feel like it was a lot better. And it's not a case of like, oh, my ideas were completely thrown out.
Right.
It was more so that the design was kind of retooled to suit
Right.
some other ideas that I had with the character a bit
Right.
better. because like I was originally wanting Ant to be a bug catcher,
Yeah.
but considering Ant's team had a theme of like strength, and because both Ant and Lily are
Hmm.
trans canonically, um it was a bit weird for me to sort of reflect that through Lily and not through Ant.
Right.
So that sort of like idea of strength and um celebrating the underdog kind
Right.
of
Exactly.
vibe kind of needed to let it like that it kind of needed to swerve in that direction, and honestly I was like, okay, yeah, him being a gym bro actually really does make sense. It
Right.
works with what I'm doing, and I like it more, and it's more unique.
Yeah, for sure. Because I remember one thing we were discussing when we were designing, like when we were like not even designing, but like first discussing and like in general, was that because I knew that he was bug type and that he was also a canonically trans character. So I was like, wait, I remember some trans people really identify themselves with the symbol of the butterfly because of the whole metamorphosis thing.
Yeah,
So I was like, we can do something with this, and it did end up like becoming just like a little Easter egg on the tattoo, but it
yeah,
did kind of like pave the
but it
way.
was it was it was an Easter egg that was well wanted, because
Right.
like I can't remember if the whole butterfly thing was like something I connected the dots with before the commission or not.
I don't remember
But
either.
because it is something I knew about,
Right.
I just don't know if I thought about it in the context of that character.
Right. No, yeah, for
But
sure.
but then when that was a thing, it was like, okay, no, it definitely should be there somewhere. And it's like, I've really wanted to like give more characters tattoos. As someone with tattoos, I'm
Right.
like, oh, I want to see that.
Right.
But it's a case of like just that was one of the few times that realistically it was better to have the tattoo than it just be, oh, I want it, and then the artist didn't put it in,
Right.
that sort of thing,
For sure.
where the design was fine without it. No, I think the butterfly tattoo was kind of necessary.
In a bit, yeah, and it also like it kind of like
Yeah,
paved the way for where the design ended up going, because his whole thing
yeah,
ended up being like super like, yes, Jim Bro, but also like the whole thing with like, doesn't the symbol on his shorts say something like "Don't wimp out" or something? So like,
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
yeah, so it became a whole like thing about him being like almost like how would you say this, like a, you know, those like coaches that are like for like motivation, like positivity and shit like that. Kind of like
yeah,
that vibe.
yeah, absolutely.
Which is really really cool. Like I love those designs
Thank
so
you.
much. And I also really like I like Ant's hair a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
For
I
some,
just I love how you go really wild, especially with like the hair.
oh
It's
yeah,
so unique and refreshing.
that's where the drag thing comes on. I think it's like, uh, I usually, I mean, I wouldn't say usually, but I do like quote unquote like normal or like regular looking hairstyles, and they are fine and they can work for sure. But also like, if you can spice it up, why not do it, right?
Hmm.
Especially when it comes to like
yeah,
stylization, more so than like crazy like unpractical hair. But like for some reason, I think because of the Babylon line, I usually like associate bug types with like squares. So I was like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if like Ant has curls that kind of look like squares? So it's like a little bit of a callback to that like sort of motif that some bug type Pokemon have. So like that was kind of like the thought behind it.
yeah.
I never I didn't make that connection until like just now. Oh my god.
Yeah, because it's not really like I wouldn't say it's like necessarily a motif that bug type Pokemon have, but it's like for some reason I myself have always like related them to that shape. So I was like, it would be a little fun Easter egg. Plus, it's like not that crazy where it looks out of place without the context. So I was like, I mean, yeah, and also Matt liked it, so I was like, let's do it.
Yeah, because it's it's unique hair and it makes him stand out more.
Right. Because I find like characters that have like unique designs and hair and like look kind of like, I mean, not to the extent of like, you know, that one meme of like where in like anime like group shots you can immediately tell who's the protagonist by the hair. I don't want it to be like
Yeah.
that, but I also want them to be like, you know, like clearly a character that is unique within their world and doesn't just look like an NPC, right?
Right.
Yeah. But then again, that's just kind of the vibe that you would want from a gym leader anyway.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
something what I really like about the Galar gym leaders, for example.
Oh, yeah.
They're very much like they all stand out in their own way like that.
Exactly.
Because like when you look at Gen 1,
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
we all love Brock, but like what about him is different?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, to be fair, I do
I think everyone only cares about Brock because of the anime.
Oh, yeah, that for sure.
Which, fair enough. He's great in the anime, but like
No, yeah, within the
in the
lens
games,
of like character design.
he's just some trainer with an onyx.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But also like I would say like I coming out as a Kanto hater, but like I don't particularly care for Kanto, but I do give them the benefit of the doubt in the sense that I feel like for the most part, in terms of design, they didn't really know what they were doing. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I can't excuse some character designs that aren't necessarily like super striking and unique and like cool because they were still finding their footing. So like some character designs that came after that of course are a bit more acceptable, but like it's
Yeah.
I don't know, I wouldn't say I have a soft spot for Ganto, but I will say that I kind of understand like why some characters weren't super bombastic and stuff. But, like I'm thinking like what you say for Galar, that for me was Paldea actually. I really like the gym leader designs for Paldea. Like really like them. They're some of my favorites. And I think it's because they
Well, I like them too.
yeah, I think it's because they embrace the like crazy looking anime character vibe. I'm thinking like for example, my favorite gym leader is Rhyme, and like
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
whole thing with the like hand looking locks, like that's so
Yeah.
clever and so fun, and like also I'm to this day I'm convinced she is inspired by Missy Elliott. So like that vibe is like I don't know, it's so fun and it's so like unique and different because like they did some stuff for Paldea that they have never done before in terms of like, you know, like associating types that usually have like a very set imagery attached to them with something completely different, which is actually the same thing we did for Ant. Like the whole idea for changing him from a bug catcher was beyond the whole like theme his arc had. Also like be like, well, we have a bunch of like bug catcher designs in Pokemon already, so like why not like do something that is a
Yeah.
bit more outside the box but like still makes sense with the typing somewhat. And I would say that's kind of like my main like design philosophy. I try to like mix up the
Yeah.
like common you know, the common associations type have with a certain type of character design or a certain like personality. Like I designed like this character for a friend named Ashildur, who I'm gonna send right now. And by the way, the character's name is Ashildur, not my friend. And
All right.
it was like a fire type trainer, but I realized that fire type trainers usually have like a very set like aesthetic and especially personality attached to them, which like, you know, they're fiery, so they're passionate and they're like crazy and super like loud and like energetic. And I was like, that's fine, but like it would be interesting to like explore a different side of that typing with the characters more like calm and like regal looking and kind of like extravagant in a different way, right?
Yeah.
God, that's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Like I always love the idea of like taking a type and just trying to do something new with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like my main like design
Yeah.
philosophy for sure. Because it's like it makes it more fun. Because like when I kind of hate when people say like, oh, this character is this type, so they have to be this and this. It's like, I mean, it
It's just like if you really want it to be that, make it yourself.
right, but also like, I mean, I will say that I haven't really like gotten comments like that on like my designs, like for like designs like I should do. I didn't really have anyone like being mad about it not being like a typical fire trainer. I mostly mean like when I'm talking with other friends who also do like Fakemon and Pokemon designs. They're like, oh, I have to design a character that is like electric type, so they have to be this and this. It's like I get where that comes from, but also like I find that a bit like restrictive. It's like,
Yeah.
Hmm.
what's the point of doing this at all if you're not gonna like have fun with it and really like experiment? I guess I don't know. That sounds a bit like pretentious, but it's like that's mostly what like drives me to do stuff like that, where it's like not only like a good enough trainer design, but also like fun to do and conceptualize, and it's like turn things on its head and like make them like a bit more different than they are commonly portrayed, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes your art so refreshing.
Thank you.
Cause like of all the other folks that like know you that didn't really get to talk to you yet, like Kyle Dove,
Mm-hmm.
he would always remark that your stuff is so refreshing, that it's so interesting to see, that it's new, that like he's not seen stuff like that before, and I think that's really your strength.
Thank you. I'm really glad that it comes across as that, because that is kind of like what I aspired to. And when Kyle told me that, I was kind of gagged because like I really look up to Kyle, and so like um it was like, wow, like not only is it working, but also it's working with people who like I actually like really like look up to and like appreciate what they do. So it's like, it does feel good to like have that come across that way, because I don't know, I think I'm not saying I'm like, you know revolutionizing anything, but it's like, I don't know, I find it more fun not only for me, but also I notice that people appreciate it. So I'm like, I think that's like my niche in a way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
In a way, that's another hallmark you have. Just it's not just, oh, you've got funky eyes with your creatures, but it's like with your human designs,
Uh-huh.
you're just trying to represent that element in a way that's unique, and you just want to make a design that is like something that people haven't really seen before generally, and when
Hmm.
people look at it they just don't question the type, even though it's not really something that they would initially associate.
Right. And like,
And I would say that is a really like big hallmark of what you've, yeah.
thank you. Like, it's because I'm not necessarily like going for something that no one has seen, because like my characters are like admittedly very like inspired by things I've seen. Like Ashildur is very 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 inspired by Bjark, but like I guess
Oh yeah,
it's
but I,
like,
I was more so meaning like not people haven't really seen this in Pokemon
right,
before.
and also like not necessarily like seen it like paired with this other thing, right?
Yeah.
Like for the for Ashildur, like you I like the whole like, I guess the merit of it comes more from the combination of like things where it's like, yes, it's a Bjark reference, but it's also like fire type, but also like no, goes against the conventions of the type and whatever. Like it's like the whole mix of it, because like I I do try to like be very like you know um forward with the referencing I do, because I don't want it to like seem like I'm taking credit for someone else's imagery or whatever. But it's, I guess the merit of it comes from referencing the correct stuff at the right time and context, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
It does make sense.
Well, yes.
I'm just posting a bunch of your stuff
Oh
in the
yeah, I'm seeing
chat
that.
right now because I'm just like finding examples of where you're just a lot of you shines through, especially in the Pokemon art styles, with like like trainer concepts and everything, because it's just so cool.
Thank you. It's definitely like fun to like like coming up like Galena. Oh my god, Galena's that's a fucking can of worms. I'm mentioning Galena because Scarf sent the image, by the way. But
Hmm.
like Galena, who I haven't finished but I should, is like the whole idea came from a song that I was obsessed with, still am, and I was like, wait, it would be great to have like, wouldn't it be funny if see,
Yeah.
yeah, wouldn't it be funny if like I had an OC based on this song and then it started like growing and then I was like, oh, what if this like characters like, and for the case of Galena, like, oh, because the song is like about Galena not waking up. So I was like, what if this character is like perpetually sleeping? And then my mind immediately went to that Victor and Rolf runway. Where I was like, wait, that would be a great reference for the design because it's like a sleeping gown. And then my mind went to like this other like media. I think it was Being Puppycat, and I was like, oh, the Cardamom's mom is sleeping on the original run of the show, and I kind of like the vibe she has. So like I'm combining these two, and also like giving her the like kind of gothy aesthetic, and it's like that like mixture of things is I guess what makes the character like work. I mean, I think it works. People liked it, so it's there's definitely like something there with like having that like visual library in your head of like what to reference and when, right?
Hmm. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's I definitely have to finish Galena. I did a bunch of sketches and I just like never got to it because I've been
She has
busy
to
with
wake
like
up.
shit. She has to wake up. She still has not waking up.
Yeah.
Galena, wake up.
I'm just still looking at the commission you did of Ant and Lily. Like I'm so, like I really am obsessed with like Lily's design. I really want to know like the everything behind the scenes of like her design.
Well,
Well, actually, let me go through Matt and I's DMs because I'm pretty sure there are some sketches
oh
there.
yeah, there was actually a alternate pose that Okto proposed, but I was just like, this doesn't feel like it would necessarily work with what I'm wanting to do
Right.
Hmm.
because my post layout feels very much more you would want you would want most pieces to be like taller than they are wide,
Right.
and Lily had a sort of
I found it by the way. I can send it.
like what how do you describe the pose?
She was doing a dip. So the
Yeah.
whole like concept for Lily was that she's like a mother of the house in terms of like voguing and like ballroom. So that was like her thing. So I was like, oh, wouldn't it be great if she? Wouldn't it be funny if she was doing a dip in the pose? So
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
thank you. So we ended up scrapping it because it didn't really fit with the layout. Which it's like that's the kind of thing that happens. Like you can't really be super
Yeah.
married to anything, but
Because it was super annoying because I loved that pose as well.
right. No, yeah, definitely. Like, and also I found some sketches because I don't know if you remember this, but before we settled on like this, like almost like dance costume, we were exploring some other vibes which were more like along the royal esque looking design. I'm sending it right now because
I'm not sure if I remember. You'd probably have to post a jog my
there it
memory
is.
because we did. Ah, yeah.
Because it was a
I
reference
I mean I was
to.
very much
Mm-hmm.
I was very much married to the idea of like she would have like because like I was married to the idea of having a sort of emotional connection with the idea of not being fully like accepted by society
Right.
because poison types generally you know,
Right.
I was just married to the idea of that connection, and this particular outfit didn't 100%
Right.
scream that to me, even though it was amazing.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. Like that's kind of like where
Yeah,
the I wouldn't say difficult, but where the like I guess more challenging side of designing a character, especially with someone else, comes, where it's like
yeah,
it doesn't just have to be like do we like it or do we not like it, but there's also like a lot of like stuff attached to it, and people have their own ideas about what they want for a character, so it's like there's a lot like of
yeah,
like fiddling, but I think it's worth it. Like I'm very happy with what we ended up going with, and even if we didn't use this one, it's still like I mean, I do a lot of sketches that end up not going anywhere for pretty much everything I do, so it's very much par for the course.
yeah. And the thing is, everything about this sketch did make sense.
Mm.
It was just a case of, w- you know,
No, yeah,
like
I get it for sure.
making it connect with the character,
Yeah,
uh, the best. And I feel like this, although it was a good design, with a lot of good inspirations,
didn't really like
yeah,
fit that concept you had, which was kind of the base idea for Lily.
yeah, and yeah, like sometimes you do have to reach that sort of balance, because like I am someone that I'm picky in the sense that I know what I don't want,
Hmm.
but Lily was one of the few things where I'm like this is actively like core to the concept.
Right.
This kind of needs to happen. Like there like I've had a couple Fakemon like that
Hmm.
where it's like there is something core to the concept that needed to happen. This is non-negotiable,
Right.
and and also some designs that just needed to be completely reworked.
Right.
Because either because my idea wasn't the best, or it wasn't or it was a case of there was probably a better way to do that idea.
Right. And again, that's par for the course.
I'm not going to name names, but like
Oh,
that has happened. Well, no, there's no drama.
I know.
It's just
I'm
a case
kidding.
of I don't feel like it's. I don't feel like this is the place to say that.
Right.
You know,
No, like
or I don't think this is the context to say that.
no, yeah, for sure. Like
But yeah,
it definitely like it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of like not
mhm.
only seeing what works, but also seeing what fits, which is different. And like
Yeah,
again, it's super par for the course. Like I have a bunch of like sketches of like either scrapped characters or very different approaches to characters that ended up going in like a completely different direction. And I think even if we didn't use it, it's very useful to do stuff that we aren't necessarily gonna be using just because it at least gives us clarity that we don't want to go in that direction, right?
yeah, 100%. I guess that's what I mean by I know what I don't want,
Right.
because it's a case of like I'm very open to like experimentation
Mm.
with my ideas, as long as that experimentation doesn't become something that's like not what my idea was.
Right.
So like when I'm working with artists, that does tend to happen, and with this, it was a case of, and it's always a shame when like a sketch comes in and it's like, this is amazing, but I don't think this is it.
Right. No, for sure. Like I absolutely get it. And it's
Yeah,
I mean, there's definitely always the option to like, not necessarily like scrap it, but be like, like for the royal thing, like it looks good, but also like it doesn't fit this character. So like there's always the option to like, save it and be
yeah,
like maybe we can reuse this concept for something else later on.
yeah. Like, because there was a royal theme with Cronio as a project
Hmm.
generally, but like that royal theme, there was a lot of like allegories with it as well. So in hindsight, yeah, no, it was completely the right idea,
Right.
because not only did it work with Lily as a character, but widely giving her a royal association when the champion also has a royal association would kind of clash, and the champion does like the champion being literally basically just Queen Elizabeth
Right.
was just
Ghost
you know,
type? Sorry.
and No, not a gun. No. No. She has a ghost type on her team.
Well, yes.
So, not intended, but like, yeah, it would just clash, especially because Coronio's plot has a lot of real world allegories and
Right.
real world issues that it wanted to tackle.
Right.
That I don't think was too dark, but was definitely a lot more, I guess, introspective
Right.
than Pokemon usually gets
Right.
about the real
For
world.
sure.
And as a result, I feel like this design wasn't right, but it was good.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not right, but it's okay. As
Yeah, like, yeah. It's weird because like Lily had a lot of like revisions and like we trying to figure out like how we execute this base idea because we both knew what Lily was going to essentially be. It's just okay, so we know which toy box we're going with, but it's just a big toy box. We don't know which toy we're going to be playing with.
Exactly.
Because with Ant, we narrowed it down, and it was a case of we just needed to go into a different store for the toy box.
Right.
But once we got into that store, we knew exactly what we wanted.
Because I remember when for Ant.
Weird analogy, but
no, yeah, for sure. But I remember for Ant, we didn't like. Because I usually before like going into sketch, I like to like discuss the idea with the person who was commissioning. So like I remember we very fast got to the conclusion that we didn't want to go with the bug catcher route. So it kind of like my first sketches were like for the bodybuilder like gym bro vibe, and if I remember correctly, like we like got to the final like base design like super quick. I think it was like the first or the second sketch, and after that we were essentially just like playing dress up.
Because we all that needed to be done was like what sort of clothes and how much would be covering.
Right.
Because it was like, okay, gym bros like hoodies. How do we do a hoodie that shows that shows all of the muscles?
Right. And also like the chest, like because we wanted to show the scars, and we also wanted to show the
well, when I say all of the muscles, I was gonna say like the sort of biceps and also abs, but I was like, no, just all of the muscles.
Right.
But as a result, that would also show the top surgery scars because like, Ant is proud of his body,
right?
And we were like, yeah, I think that makes sense. Like it fits completely within everything that he'd be a gym bro because he's working on his body,
right?
Which a lot of trans people, and in Ant's case specifically, trans masculine people go through.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to see if I can find any other sketches actually, because there's some, but they're not like particularly exciting to like show, but. Let me see, because I'm looking at them and they're very much like we very much had a lot of an easier time with Anne.
Yeah,
it was mostly
we just were like, right, let's completely change it, but we changed it to something that was quite easy to figure out.
Right. Okay, I found some sketches of like some of the different ideas we had for the clothing, but like you can tell that like the base of it, which was the original base, like this was the first sketch I did, and you can tell it's like pretty much what Anne looks like now, like almost no changes.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Oh my god.
And it was basically just like, yeah, these weren't really like the vibe. It was like, we do like showing the muscles, showing the biceps, good, but it's like these didn't feel necessarily 100% right.
Right.
I can't remember when we realized, oh yeah, zip up hoodies are a thing and they can be just short sleeve.
Let me see.
But the thing is, these sketches were still useful because, like,
right.
Yeah, we had the basic face down. We knew what we wanted to show, because it was like, okay, we've got the arms exposed, good. And also, um, the first one had shorts which would then go on to like be developed into the shorts that happened because
Right.
it just looked the best. I don't know. I don't know why it was specifically the fact. I don't know if it was specifically the fact that they were shorts or just the patterning you put on them made me go, "We need
I
this."
think it was the patterning actually.
Yeah, because I'm just like it that screams bug type because the other shorts just scream what I would wear, and I'm not a bug type trainer,
Right. Right.
so like there's nothing against having a bit more like casual wear. Like I mean heck, one of a trainer I got designed later on,
Uh
Douglas,
huh.
who's a ground specialist, has a lot more comfy wear.
Uh huh.
Mainly because that is meant to look specifically like quote unquote, and I'm putting big fucking quotation marks on professional.
Right.
Because mainly because the establishment love suit and tie, love like fancy dresses but not too fancy.
Right.
You know, they like the bougie sort of outfits. Meanwhile, Douglas is someone that was meant to be working class character.
Right.
So yeah, that's it's meant to directly contrast what the villains, who are these bougie elites, are meant to be.
Right.
That was just by design. I'm not trying to make the association of comfy clothes and working class. It's just those things just went hand in hand comparatively to other characters.
Right. No, yeah, for sure. Like it's
I'm just going on a tangent. Just character design and clothing is actually very important.
no, yeah, it absolutely is, and like
And it was very important to come up with Anne and Lily's designs in
yeah,
that way. And I would assume that's like important for like all of your other characters that you've either been commissioned to do or just done for yourself.
right. That's where there's a lot of context to it, because like there's obviously like, especially for what you're mentioning about Douglas, it's like well, there's like what the character is like in terms of like personality and like obviously the type that they use, like whatever, but there's also the context of like what they are like in the world, and like what time period they're at, and like you know, shit that goes beyond just like a standalone character like in the void, right? So like there's a lot of stuff you
Yeah.
have to like take into consideration when it comes to designing a character and designing like clothing and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
for
I love
sure.
that design.
Oh yeah, that sounds great.
The colors, especially, are so lovely.
I really like the
Oh yeah,
hair.
it's because his ace was Coronian Luxray, and I wanted that to be very much
Yes.
influential in his design. Because I was like, if his ace is Coronian Luxray, it makes sense to have a tie dye hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
That's it. Like, so sometimes when you're thinking about Pokemon trainer characters, you do actually think they might as well just be a Gajinka of their ace.
A little
It's true.
bit.
Sometimes you think that, but sometimes other things come into it as well, and they just come in and become a striking design
Right. Like I definitely like the
in their own
idea.
right.
I definitely like the idea of like starting with like a quote unquote Jijinka of a design of a Pokemon, I mean, but then kind of like taking that and like running like the complete opposite direction, right? So like there's definitely like um elements of the ace or whatever on the design, but you clearly like took it, you know, somewhere else. Like I have these two, which okay, they're not necessarily like character designs. They're more so like costume designs because they are like Signa suits for some of my SEs. But they are based on Miraidon
Okay.
and Koraidon, and I did kind of like try to like give them a little, you know, spice beyond just being like a Jijinka, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
God, I love those.
Thank you.
they are so good.
But yeah, like it's there's a lot of like caveats to character design, but that's what makes it fun, I find, because like if it was just as cut and dry as like you make one and that's done, I mean it's easier, but also like it's a bit less rewarding versus like you know, working on this character for like days and like having a bunch of sketches, and then you finally get somewhere that you know you're like happy with.
This is it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That moment
Yeah.
has such like a euphoria to it, such like a rush of like dopamine that's like it's obviously it's
Hmm.
easier when you like just like are able to nail a design like within one or two passes, but it's not as like it feels less I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is like the characters and the designs in general that I like the most are usually the ones that took me the most work because like they feel more like earned, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was about to say it has that sense of feeling earned. That might just be completely psychological,
Oh, for
but
sure.
like a good design's still a good
Right.
design. So like it's not saying oh you shouldn't be proud of it just because it took you so long. No,
Right. No, yeah.
you should.
Absolutely. Like,
Because it turned out so good and you put that time in, naturally it's gonna feel a lot better. And I think I think people knowing that would be like, okay, no, this is amazing.
for sure. And like it's definitely psychological because one of my most popular designs, which is my Crinoid Fakemon, the one that Scarf sent earlier, I'm gonna send it again just in case from my folder. But it's that was actually like the first sketch I did. I just did one sketch of it and it was done. And like it's I can tell you for a fact that that feeling is psychological because this is to this day one of my most popular Fakemon, and I like it a lot. But it also was like one take, so it didn't feel as like rewarding as some other Fakemon like Banette, which took like forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or one of your unreleased Fakemon that took like so many revisions,
Oh
so many
my,
color
oh my
tests.
fucking god,
We were in the trenches.
oh my fucking god. Oh, if whenever that project is out and we do like one of these again, I'm gonna have so much to talk about because that project is so like it's so rewarding and I'm so happy with it. But my god, has it been a uphill battle? Like it's you know
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One final question is do you have any advice for other artists?
give up.
What? What, give up? Is that what you said?
Well, yes, no. I guess I guess my
And that's all, folks.
yeah. Thank you so much for having me, you guys. Like this was great. No,
I mean, not gonna lie, that unironically, I do feel like that might be my advice for some people. What like who've got like dreams of becoming a YouTuber? It's like that is too much of an uphill battle. Just don't.
I mean, yeah, a little
If
bit.
you fall into it, good. But like, don't go in
Right.
expecting it to be
Yes,
easy.
that's the
But
thing.
what is
Expecting.
your actual advice?
Actually, that is kind of good advice that I will say. Like, it's
Yeah,
definitely don't
because it is more about managing expectations.
right. Like, don't go into
That's more what I'm on about. Not saying, oh yeah, don't do it. This is bad. Just don't. Like
right. Like,
no, that's just a flippant way of
I think it's
expectation control.
I think it's like definitely like manage your expectations, like Gabby Hanna would say.
Hmm.
Um, it's like don't really like go into it expecting anything. Like I guess actually that is I think that would be like where my advice would be going for that question, which is like do it for the fun of it. Like it sounds so like cliche and like so like overdone, but like it's true. Like if you don't have fun with it and if you don't do it for yourself, then you're gonna burn out so quickly, and it's not gonna be rewarding, and it's gonna be hell on earth. And I can tell you that from experience. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like just like do it for the fun of it, and just have the mindset that people who watch or follow your stuff aren't really like this is gonna sound so mean, but like aren't really like entitled to any of it. I always say that like regardless of what people like or of if people follow me or not or if people like my shit or not, I'm gonna draw anyways. Like I'm just allowing people to see it. So I guess that's my thing. Like don't go into like don't do art and again, this is so easy to say because I've also fallen into the trap of like numbers and like engagement and algorithm and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
um, if you focus that much on it, it's so miserable because it's not even an uphill battle. It's like a fucking perpendicular wall. Like it's
Yeah.
impossible. So you have to be so lucky, or you have to like have so much knowledge of how shit works, especially considering the fact that that shit is like algorithms and stuff are always changing. So like go into it not expecting anything from anyone. Just go into it because you like it and because you want to show it, regardless
Mm-hmm.
of what uh people might say or if people see it or not. Because like the moment you start playing into that whole like numbers thing and like, oh, this post isn't like performing well, or oh, this I have to post this many times a week, otherwise I'm not gonna have good engagement. Which yes, it's important, especially if it's your job. Like you do need to like think about stuff like that, but also like try to like I guess just again, this sounds so like this sounds so like removed, but just like you do kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, otherwise you're literally gonna go insane. So I guess that's my advice. Just like do it because you like it, and if people like it, that's great. And if they don't, or they don't see it, it's not really like it doesn't really have anything to do with you or your ability, right?
Right.
Like I've seen some amazing artists who have like less than 100 followers, and they've been at it for so long because they just happen to be unlucky with how the algorithm like picks up their stuff. So it's like
Yeah.
don't really like assign value to stuff like numbers and like engagement and whatnot, because it doesn't really mean anything, especially not regarding with your ability or with your like worth as an
Yeah.
artist.
All it means is did the numbers like the numbers that you submitted?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's got not like that has no real connection to artistic value. Like yeah,
Absolutely.
I've got to admit I do stress about like making sure I get a video out every week, making sure like paying attention to how well videos do.
Right.
But like largely that's not going to stop me from making the content I want to
Yeah.
make.
Mm-hmm.
It might mean I'm like, okay, this was a failed experiment of like trying to branch out.
Right.
But
But also
like
like
especially if it's content that I'm like I'm not sure if I want to continue making that.
w-
But when it's stuff that I want to make, I do not get discouraged by numbers.
yeah, absolutely. Like because
I get annoyed, but like it's not that doesn't reflect on me as a creator.
right, exactly. Like sometimes I do art that is not Pokemon and it doesn't necessarily do that well, but also like I don't know, I don't really care because like when I do art that's not Pokemon or that's not like the kind of stuff I like do for work, I'm doing it for fun. So like I don't really care if like my post that is like fan art of like Zelda or something doesn't do well because it I don't really depend on it. Like again, I absolutely get why you would like worry about like numbers and like stuff because like
Yeah.
it's like YouTube is like your thing, but it's like it's finding that balance of like worrying enough for it to be like for it to work, but also like not worrying too much where you're like losing sleep over it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess that is my advice. Like just like do it for the fun of it, and also like if you can experiment, if you have like the time and the resources to experiment with art, especially now that it's so easy, like everything is so available, especially if you do like digital art.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, like experiment. Even if you can't do another medium, just do a kind of design that you wouldn't normally do. Because like I've done some stuff where I'm like I remember some friends and I did a challenge ages ago where we like essentially told each other like what we think our staples in our designs are or were at the time, and like we try to like design Figmon with everyone else's, like the other person's like characteristics in mind. So like I did one with Dubs AC, um like
Yeah.
general like characteristics in mind, and I will say that I learned a lot and also kind of made me change how and what I was drawing. So
Mm-hmm.
experimenting
Yeah.
definitely, like, even if it doesn't work, even if you hate it at the end, uh, it's like it's not really about like the end result. It's mostly about like enjoying the process of it, I guess. Yeah, but I guess that's it.
That's really sound advice, and that's advice I absolutely like take to heart too, because I remember when you told it to me.
Yeah,
But thank you so much, Okto.
of course. This is great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that just about does it for this episode of the Fakemon Community Podcast.
Mm-hmm. Again, thank you so much, Okto, for coming on and being able to talk with us for about 2 hours. And thank you again, Matt, for the opportunity.
Yeah, make sure to follow all of us, because if you don't, I'll leave it at that. Yeah. Yeah, we're all actually secretly Banettes, and
Yes.
if you don't check out our stuff out, that's gonna be that's gonna trigger our rejection,
Sensitive
inner
dysphoria.
rejection.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was trying to find the right term, but yeah, and that will make us believe you are the people who abandoned us.
Sure.
So we
So watch
are the
out.
Banettes.
And if you don't follow us, you are indeed transphobic. So
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, just be gay, do crime,
yeah,
but not the crime of not following us.
yeah.
There we go.
Alrighty, thank you both so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope that our
And
listeners
thank you,
too.
also have
and thank everyone for watching
Mm-hmm.
or
All right.
listening or vibing.
Well, yes.
Enjoy yourselves, everyone.